So my name is Adil Alzarooni. A telecom engineer actually. Started as a telecom engineer, a hacker, one of the first hackers in the GCC. I used to hack for telecom companies. I moved to Saudi Arabia. I lived there for 3 years as head of security, as a co-founder of a telecom company in Saudi Arabia called Mobile. So we established that company. Came back into a startup that was focused on anti-terrorism. So we used to develop solutions in people tracking, vehicle inspection, security solutions basically. And then I joined the government of Dubai, Jebel Ali, free zone, whereby I headed the Middle East chapter. So I used to develop economic zones and handle global sales. So I used to travel around the world to attract companies to come and set up in the UAE. I did that for 10 years, in which I, with my team, were able to develop around 9 economic zones. And I was able to attract around 1,000 companies, of which 50 were Fortune 500 companies. And then I left the government back in 2017 to focus on my family office, which I created in 2009 at the midst of the financial crisis. I initially invested in healthcare. I do have a number of healthcare setups, and then got into financial services, which I didn't really enjoy. Got into some technology companies, got into education lately, and expanding in real estate. As a family, we've historically made money from real estate and from travel. We're going back to real estate in a more structured way. I also was asked to take care of another family office, which I created for a member of the ruling family in Sharjah, the next city.
This is Bidayar Holding,
Al
right?
Bidayar Holding. So I created Al Bidayar Holding, and under it, I mainly do food and beverages. In that, we have Dunkin' Donuts, around 120 stores now in UAE and Kuwait. And we are now a week away from a new brand, taking over a new brand in the tea space. And back in Eid, we've launched a biscuit and coffee brand of our own. And we are in the ice cream business, and we have a few of these businesses. I've also established my own group called Capizona, which is basically a venture studio that does purely startups in a venture studio style. In that, there is a portfolio of companies, Global,
Here, right?
Cascaza, Ken's, Social Gym, Unisport City, or UniDGG. I'll be speaking just very high level about the Middle East, the potential and all of that. You would note that UAE is a top destination for FDI, and foreign investments are actually, like for example, it's 30 billion in 2023 versus 22 billion in 2022. And the target is $65 billion by 2031. So the rate of increase in FDI attraction is crazy. When I started back in the early 2000s, it was 2 billion. Spending is heavy in the region. You'd note that there is some healthy level of competition on who's growing the best infrastructure, the best laws and regulations, the best living environments. So the GCC is quite going through that healthy competition amongst themselves. M&A activities is increasing dramatically. It's something that I did not expect. You'll see a lot of money coming into transactions now, which is something that there was always criticism in that M&A activities are very few and investing in startups was negligible But now I see the turn myself. And this is a man that had an investment bank, I had a PE shop, and a VC shop. Okay, so I left all of that because the market was so weak. But now I see the tide is turning. Real estate market, you see how, I won't call it hot, I call it crazy hot. Yeah, but I've seen it a few times before. And the good thing about this country is that it knows how to rebound, and that gives you some level of security. So when I get asked today, is it a good time to invest in real estate? My answer is the market go up and down all the time. So it never goes always up. And whoever says no, it's always up is just proof. Is not being logical and not being scientific. You can try and time your entrance. And I was lucky in that I was able to time it a couple of times in a nice way. So we made some money. But all in all, even if it goes down, as I've seen in the last 2.5 decades, it comes back and it then grows from that point. So, and frankly speaking, looking at Europe, we are still less than 1/4 or 1/3 of the cost per square foot versus Europe in many parts of Europe.
Okay.
So if you look at the square foot now, buying a square foot in Dubai is around 1,500 dirhams, which is what, $450. In Europe, many parts of Europe, it's $11,000.
So when you say Europe, are you comparing with the capitals?
Yeah, we're comparing with major hubs.
Major hubs. Okay.
With comparing with major hubs, and in there so in here it would be around $450. In there it would be $1,100 or $1,200. So we're still less than half of many parts of Europe. Bearing in mind here you don't have still income tax and the taxation is negligible. So, and the ownership rules and all the taxes that goes with ownership and the conditions is still very favorable in here. The landscape, I'll just share some numbers. I mean, MENA startups raised $1.5 billion in Q1 2025, more than almost 250% increase versus last year. UAE is usually the leader in that, securing 104 million across 14 transactions only in March 2025. Fintech remains dominant, so more than $1 billion in 36 fintech startups only in the first quarter, followed by health tech and AI. As I mentioned, the UAE aims or is targeting $65 billion in FDI attraction by 2031, which is almost double from where it is today, more than double. I mean, UAE has classically attempted to diversify. I remember in the late 90s at school, the number was the UAE GDP. Number was around 92% of our GDP was from oil as a country, and now it's 23%. So the way we've moved as a country from being totally dependent, I mean, you're talking 92, 94% on oil, to now 23% on oil.
What is the next one after oil?
After oil, usually in countries is logistics, trading basically. Import, export, and then after that there will be services. Usually, I mean, countries usually have these elements. Tourism was not in the whole spectrum. Now it contributes, to the best of my memory, 12%, which is a huge jump from nothing. And today Dubai is in the top 10 destinations touristically in the world. Now I'm talking about country level. So
Mhm.
when you talk about Dubai, it's a different story.
Absolutely
So
right.
Dubai, it's only 2% of Dubai GDP is from oil, and then followed by logistics, those economic zones, followed by tourism, almost very close by, and then followed by real estate, by services and stuff like that.